Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody can hear my voice and see the presentations on the screen. There was a slight technical glitch on my side, and hence it's taking a bit of a time. But how now everybody can hear my voice and see the screen. Yeah, Gautam, I got both the documents. Once the class gets over, I'll go through them and revert back to you. Okay. So, some of you guys were supposed to have maths sessions, that is a crash batch students, but unfortunately Chandan sir had some minor problems today, and he should be back at full strength shortly. But today, instead of his class, I'll be taking, and this will be reading comprehension, right? Like yesterday we did passages, we'll be doing new passages today. So don't be surprised. The new guys also, there's a slight change in the schedule, unfortunately, because of some incident. Chandan sir is not able to come online. We hope he'll be able to resolve all the issues and take classes full-fledged from the next week onwards. Okay. So is everybody with me together on this? Are we all together on this? Are we ready to begin? Those who took, the new guys who came yesterday for my reading comprehension session already know how we did that session. We are going to follow the same format. Today, for those who are having this session for the first time, we have already done reading comprehension before, but the way this is going to work is that I'll be sending you a PDF which contains all questions and the passages, right? They don't contain the options. So what I'm going to do is, once I send the PDF, you are expected to solve the first set of questions. You're expected to solve the first set of questions. And once you have solved the first set of questions, you can just give me a heads up that you're done with it. And when you're done with it, then once everybody is done with it, we will be solving them together. And then at the end, we can see how many marks were we able to obtain. So is everybody with me so far? Is everybody with me so far? Who is annotating on the screen? Bye. बहुत मस्ती आ रही है आपको स्क्रीन पे चलाने की. Don't yeah, whoever is annotating, please stop. You know, we can see the name of the person who's doing that, so please don't do it. It's pretty irritated. Let me be the only one जो कलम चलाता है. ठीक है, चलो. Now, so give me a minute. I'm just preparing the document which is to be sent to everybody. So within the minute, everybody should get the document. And once you get the document, we can all start the exercise. Sunday, you'll only have GK. On Sunday, I'll be sending the schedule. This Sunday, I'll only be having GK. Same timings as usual. So it's just taking me some time to get the PDF across to you. Hopefully now I should be able to send it. Okay, I've started sending it. So some of you might have started receiving the document. Actual ARCs करके, it's a PDF document containing multiple passages and questions for each passage. Okay, so I've sent across the document to everybody. I hope everybody has started receiving it, right? I hope everybody has started receiving it. Okay. So what we will be doing is you'll be reading the first passage and solving the questions. So use whatever strategy you see fit. Passage first, question first, I leave it up to you. But you should be able to solve maximum number of questions of the first paragraph in the minimal number of time. That is your goal. Once you're done that, just give me a heads up they are done. When a lot of you have done, then we'll go about analyzing the passage. Okay? So whenever you are ready, you may start with the first one. Siddharth, legal this Sunday? No, this is not the last. Is it the last Sunday? I guess so, but no. In fact, that is legal won't be this Sunday. We'll be starting in February. We'll be starting every Sunday of February. From February onwards, we'll be having legal. Jill, I'll be sending you a schedule, but for year-long students, it is 11:30 to 1:30 is GK. That's it. Yes, Gautam. Yes, start Shubhankar. Guys, please start going through the. Please start solving the first example. Pratyush, you haven't got it? Okay, just wait a minute. You can check now. Pratyush, have you got it now? Okay. So all you need to do is first you just need to try to solve the first passage, and then we will do the analysis of how it is supposed to be solved. Okay, so some of the words, if you do not know, in the examination you won't have access to meaning. So I want you to do this exactly the way you will do in an exam. I'm not going to tell you the word meanings right now, right? Continue as if you would do it in an exam. Once you are done, then I will of course explain all the words that you did not get, but not in the beginning. I want you to attempt it the way you would attempt it in an exam. Yes, Gautam. Done. Okay. Priyanka seems to have done it quickly. Okay. What about the others, guys? Okay. Handful of people have indeed done it. What about the others? Okay. But along with speed, I also need accuracy. So if you have done it, we'll also need to check how many of the questions you actually got right. So I'll give you a few more minutes for those who haven't completed it yet. And then we will take a look at first understanding words and concepts in the passage. And then, of course, the questions and answers. Yes, Gautam. You have got the entire list of paragraphs in your hand. You just need to scroll through it to understand what are we going to do. That's the entire PDF is what we are going to do today. There's no confusion there. How many words this passage contains? Okay. I'm actually going to do a quick check of that. This is 500 words. This is roughly 500 words. Okay. So now I'm going to first take a look at the words which you did not understand, any line, any concept you did not understand, and then we'll look at the passage. So very first thing, somebody asked me in the middle, what is meant by benevolent? A benevolent is a person who does good, right? A benevolent leader is a very kind leader. So benevolent means kind, a person who does good for others. Philanthropist. Philanthropist is a person who actually does good for other people. Benevolent simply means kind and caring. They are very similar to each other, but not exactly the same. A philanthropy actually does something good for you, whereas a benevolent person is someone who's simply kind and caring towards you. Spawned means gave birth to. It comes from frogs. Frogs, it's called spawning. To spawn means to give birth to. Myriad means variety. It spawned, myriad means it gave birth to a variety of something. Yes, Bill Gates is a philanthropist. Any other words, guys, which you did not understand, could not understand, or a concept? Naive. Naive is a person who can be easily fooled, gullible. Conceit. Conceit means it's a characteristic where a person thinks that मैं कुछ ज़्यादा ही हूँ. Right? Ego जिसको बोलते हैं, sort of that. Trope. Trope is a commonly used device in either films or जैसे फिल्म्स में फिल्म एक स्टैंडर्ड क्या होगा, हीरो की पिटाई होगी, मरने वाला होगा, फिर भी मंदिर की घंटी बजेगी और उसमें शक्ति आ जाएगी, माँ करके उठेगा और फिर 100 लोगों को पीटेगा. दैट्स अ ट्रोप, राइट? घिसा पिटा लेकिन जो काम करता है, दैट्स कॉल्ड अ ट्रोप. Indeterminacy. Indeterminacy means something which cannot be determined. The effect of not being able to determine. Indeterminacy. Something, the characteristic of not being able to be discerned. Discerning is supposing you carefully look at something and you select something with a lot of care. You are very discerning. You carefully select something, that means you are very discerning. You don't just take anything. You select things based on a lot of observation. Transitory. Transit means to move from one place to another. So transitory is something in motion. Sometimes it is also used to mean temporary. But transitory means something which is in motion. Immutable, something which cannot be changed. The laws of physics are immutable. You cannot change the laws of physics. You cannot break the laws of physics. Inexplicability, explicable, something which can be explained. Inexplicable, something which cannot be explained. Inexplicability, the quality of being not able to explain it. Something which cannot be explained, that is inexplicable. Right? Shall we move on to the questions then? Very interesting passage. Slightly tough, but from real life. It's about Isaac Asimov, one of the greatest writers, especially the entire genre of science fiction. He's supposed to be one of the greatest contributors to science fiction writing. Sir Isaac Asimov. Okay. Yes, Gautam. Chalo, till he types that out. He was the first to write about robots fiction. Yeah, he's popularly known as the person who introduced science fiction, the concept of robots and other things. At least he made it very popular. Very right. So if you ever get a chance, do read Isaac Asimov. Unfortunately, I have not been able to read much of Isaac Asimov, but I do have read some of his essays. खतरनाक लिखता है बंदा. Anyway, first question. Which one of the following most accurately expresses the main point of the passage? What exactly is the passage all about? What exactly is the passage all about? या माधव यार क्या बटन दब गया क्या किसको व्हाट्सएप पे चैट कर रहे थे और मेरा फोन लग गया ओके सो विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग मोस्ट एक्यूरेटली एक्सप्रेसेस Shubhankar, you didn't understand the passage, then you cannot answer this question. But let's see if we can answer this question. That is the central theme of the passage, right? Let's answer this question first, and then maybe you will understand the central theme of the passage. Isaac Asimov's greatest work, the Foundation Trilogy, is the expression of the common trope of the benevolent and paternalistic scientist. Common trope of means जो generally कहानियों में लिखते हैं कि एक scientist होगा, वो बहुत अच्छा होगा, पूरी दुनिया को बचाएगा. That's a very common trope, right? Standard कहानी. Is this passage about just how the Foundation Trilogy is a standard story? Maybe not. The first half describes that, but the second half goes to talk about something else. So this does not contain the whole passage. So A, maybe not. Second, popularization of science are always to some degree dependent idealizations and simplification of that science, as Isaac Asimov's work demonstrates. Reading the entire passage, do you get the sense that to popularize science, you have to idealize things, you have to simplify it? Well, the passage does not exactly talk about simplifying things to make science popular and understood. Could be the answer, but not very sure. C. The impossibility of the conceit on which Isaac Asimov's Foundation Trilogy is based demonstrates that Asimov's fiction was based on imperfect understanding of science. Well, nobody is actually saying, whoops, I was on mute all the time. I was on mute all the time. Uh-oh. Chalo, koi baat nahi. हाँ, I was on mute. Somebody was giving me a call from this group. इसी group में से किसी ने मेरे को WhatsApp पे गम नंबर घुमाया. So just to cut that call, I put it on mute and then forgot. Chalo. So sorry guys. Chalo, back. Okay. So which one of the following most accurately expresses the main point of the passage? Well, the first half does talk about how the Foundation Trilogy is about a benevolent and paternalistic scientist who saves the world, as Ghizipiti Kahani. But that is not the entire point of the passage. It only goes till half the passage. So A cannot be my answer. Right? Now, does popularization of science depend on simplification? Passage इतना complicated है. Are they saying कि समझाने के लिए simplify करना पड़ेगा? Maybe not. So B does not seem like a great option. The impossibility of the conceit on which Isaac Asimov's Foundation trilogy is based demonstrates that Asimov's fiction was based on imperfect understanding of science. Well, it does say that Asimov's understanding was imperfect, but impossibility की कहाँ पे बात आ रही है? This does not make too much of sense. But the first half talks about what Isaac Asimov believed and wrote, and the second half says the science which was there at his time itself was challenging what he said. Right? If you go back to the second half of the passage, it does talk about how the science itself was changing, how things that he was writing about and what science was different. So Isaac Asimov's idealization of science as revealed in his Foundation series was called into question by the science of his time, which was increasingly focused on chaos and indeterminacy. So this may be the best possible option that we can come up with, right? Because the first half talks about what he's writing in the Foundation trilogy, but the second half, it challenges whatever is written, right? If I go back to the passage, look at all this, right? Yahan tak to tha, what is the Foundation trilogy and everything. But even while Asimov wrote, science was changing. And then it goes about what are the changes, what are the differences, so on and so on and so forth. Right? So the two halves are described together in option D, and that has to be my best possible answer. Are we together on this? Does everybody agree? Why can't it be B? How does it say that popularization of science to some degree is dependent idealization and simplification of that science? Can you point out which part of the passage says that if science has to become popular, it depends on making it simple? Mehak, which part of the passage leads you to believe that for science to be popular, it has to be simple? Remember, your answer has to be supported from some part of the passage. Do you think any part of the passage says that? Second paragraph. Okay, where? This is the first one, I believe. नहीं ये नहीं तो foundation वाला ही है. यहाँ पे कहाँ पे? हाँ नहीं है. Gautam says in such para we will get some words that are common in passage and answer to eliminate. Randomly just using the same words as a point of elimination is actually not good. They can twist the way they are using this word and mislead you. So I wouldn't just say कि question में ये word है, answer में ये word है, para में ये word है, आगे पीछे करो. Don't do that. ठीक है? Don't worry about that. That's why Gautam, I have sent the PDF. Refer to the PDF, that would be easier for you. Refer to the PDF, that would be easier for. That's why I sent the PDF. So for guys who are on their phone, for everybody, when you're solving it, please use the PDF file which I have sent. I've sent it so that you can do it at your own pace. You are not restricted by my display on the screen. Yes, Vinchika says words like indeterminacy, chaos and inexplicability, it represents how science was a little vague and hence D works the best. I agree with that. ठीक है, चलो, let's take a look at the next one. Which one of the following statement most accurately expresses the purpose of the final passage? Priyanka, what we give is advice. Whatever works best for you, right? One medicine will not cure everything. We suggest something, but if your technique works better and faster, follow it. Always use things which are good for you. We will, for those who don't have any technique, we suggest. For those who have a technique which works better, there is no harm in using it. Which one of the following statement most accurately expresses the purpose of the final paragraph? Okay. Can it talk about the ultimate failure of the Foundation series? No. Right? First, second, third passage के अंदर ही Foundation series की बात खत्म हो जाती है. बाकी तो फाउंडेशन सीरीज की बात ही नहीं करता है, राइट? इट टॉक्स अबाउट समथिंग एल्स. सो ए इज नॉट माई आंसर. A claim is made about the purpose of Asimov's writing and finally rejected. Nobody is rejecting anything about the purpose of Asimov's writing. So B is not necessarily my answer. A key theme of Asimov's Foundation series is described and discoveries in science that seem contrary to that theme are outlined. In fact, if you go back to the passage and you see, right, last passage के पहले का line क्या है? Even while Asimov wrote, science itself was changing. So that last line takes you to the last paragraph with the clear picture that whatever Asimov wrote, it was actually changing. Whatever Asimov wrote was actually changing. So C most probably can be my answer. D, the history of science is used to demonstrate the falsity of a widely believed claim about the power of human reason. बहुत ज़्यादा बकवास है. Best possible answer, definitely C. Yes. What does muddled mean? Muddled means something which is confusing. Something which is agitated to such an extent that you can no longer understand what it is. Muddled means something which confuses you. Mixed up in such a bad manner that you cannot understand it. Hard to make out. Yes. And ultimate is a strong word. Okay. Okay. So does everybody agree? Best possible answer here is C. Yes. Okay. Next one. The author's reference to a common claim made about Asimov serves to do what? What is the common claim? एकदम beginning of the passage में दिया है. It is claimed that Asimov has written of every topic under the Dewey Decimal System. And it is also explained why that claim is made. Right? It's not as if you have to think. If you just read the passage directly, the answer is there. It is given what the answer is. Guys, read the passage. Passage में ना सिर्फ ये question, इसका आंसर भी उसी line में है. Right? It says that people say that he has written every topic of the library system. Although it may not be true, it serves as an example to show the breadth of his interest in writing. How widely he used to be involved in different subjects is clearly given in the passage. All you have to do is read the initial part of the passage. There is no confusion. Answer has to be B. It is not demonstrating untrue beliefs about him. It is not undermining the claim that he is a prolific or very deep writer. It is not substantiating his belief in the power of human reason. In fact, what it is only doing is, when you say he has written every subject of the library, what does it mean? That he's writing a lot. He has a broad scope of writing. That's the only thing it means. And it is actually given in the passage. These words are written in the passage. All you should have done is read. It's in the first 3-4 lines of the passage. Okay? Chalo, next one. With respect of the Selden plan, what is the author's attitude? Simple. Okay. So when he's mentioning the Selden plan, and if you read that passage, that part of the passage a couple of times, you will automatically identify that the author says that this was exactly what Asimov also thought. Selden plan kya tha? That the person will, using maths, determine the future and then do things to improve mankind. And that is exactly what Asimov also used to thought. That science has the trope wala ye line yaad hai, the trope that there is a benevolent scientist, right? So Asimov का जो attitude है वही Selden plan में भी दिखता है. So D, it's convinced that it illustrates Asimov's attitude towards science. What does, beta, Selden is the name of a person. Selden is the name of the person. The Selden plan, the Mountbatten plan, the Narendra Modi plan, the Rahul Gandhi plan. It's literally, the Selden is the name of a person. 148, previous one was B. B for Bombay. Did everybody get 149th? Did everybody understand this? Okay. Which one of the following statements best illustrates the butterfly effect as it is described in the passage's third paragraph? You have to understand what is butterfly effect. Butterfly effect literally means one incident can affect another. Because something happened, something else happens. That is known as the butterfly effect. So, a system implemented to predict the weather worldwide for the next century is soon found to be inaccurate because it was supplied with incomplete data. This does not tell me कि एक की वजह से दूसरा हुआ, right? Not necessarily true. Efforts to predict the result of a nuclear reaction fail because of indeterminacy inherent in the behavior of subatomic particles. Guys, go back to the passage and read. These things are clearly mentioned butterfly effect के आजू बाजू में. Possibly my answer. Fossil record indicates certain adaptations found in organisms appeared after a past catastrophic event. Scientific predictions about blah 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 blah. B is the only thing which is actually mentioned in the passage close to where the butterfly effect is mentioned. It is there in the passage. All you had to do is pick it out. So option B, definitely a good answer. Indeterminacy inherent in the behavior of subatomic particles. Go back to the passage and check. It is definitely written there. Are we together? What was the answer to 140? द्विजा, हम हनुमान कांड में पहुंच गए और अभी आप दशरथ की शादी पे बैठे हो. Oh, network issues. चलो, no problem. 147 was C. 147 was C. ठीक है, चलो. So 150 is B. So guys, before we go on to the next passage, how many of these did you get right? How many of these did you get right? I think 5 questions. How many of these did you get right? 3 out of 5. Okay, 3 is a pretty standard score and a decent score to get. 3 or above, I will say okay, you are pretty decent with reading comprehension. जो steady practice चल रहा है वो करो. Anything less than that, you require to pick up your practice level. थोड़ा और practice करना पड़ेगा आपको. If your score is less than 3, that is either you got 0, 1 or 2, then I would say you need to practice more. If you got 3, 4 or 5, then I would say जो practice चल रहा है वो बढ़िया चल रहा है. Continue at the same level. ठीक है? चलो, by the way guys, if you think whether such questions are asked in the exam or not, this is from actual one of the exam papers. This passage was from IELT paper. It's from IELT paper few years back. So IELT is always known to be a tough paper. So उनके RCs ऐसे थोड़े complicated रहते हैं हमेशा. So this was from IELT 2008 if I'm not mistaken. ठीक है? काई नहीं, मैं दे रहा हूँ ना आपको. Plus I'll be sending you more passages. I'll send you the passages. Yes, it was tough, but it was an actual exam paper. So एग्जाम में भी ऐसे आएंगे एंड यू हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर इट. जनरली क्लैट, सिम्बायोसिस, इन सब में ईजी पैसेजेस आते हैं, राइट, जिसमें स्पीडीली यू कैन सॉल्व. बट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट आईलेट, इट इज़ अ बिट ऑफ अ टफ पेपर. सो आई एम गेटिंग यू यूज टू ऑल डिफरेंट टाइप्स. आईलेट किया है, क्लैट का भी कभी करूँगा इस बैच के साथ. कल मैंने क्लैट का कुछ लोगों के साथ किया था, आपके साथ भी करूँगा. डोंट वरी, ऑल डिफरेंट लेवल्स ऑफ पेपर RCs वी विल डू, so that you are ready for anything. ठीक है? चलो, next passage. Come on guys, you can refer to the PDF, solve it, tell me when you are done, then we'll discuss. गौतम आईलेट का रिजल्ट हमेशा ही टफ रहता है. लिमिटेड नंबर ऑफ सीट्स. आईलेट इज ऑलवेज टफ. जेरोम के जेरोम. 3 men in a boat. That's fast, Mitali. Okay. Yes, Gautam. Black fiction, black refers to what? Color of what? Yes. Gautam asked me at the end of the class. Are we done with it, guys? If you're done with it, we'll first look at words. Yeah, most guys, man, you always take time. That means you need to improve your reading speed now. I'll give a couple of minutes. I'll give a minute and then we will start the analysis. Man, this clearly indicates you need to have a better reading speed. You need to practice a lot of reading. Okay, let's go with words first. Any words that you did not understand? What is black fiction? It basically talks about black people, the black race. So when you're talking about the work of black people, that's called black fiction. Black authors writing about black protagonists, black subject. Talks about dark skinned people. Pedantic means trying to please certain people. For example, आप कोई कहानी लिखते हो जो it's not a true reflection of what you want to write, but it is designed to just please people. लोगों को अच्छा लगे आप लिख रहे हो. That is pedantic. Circumvents means avoid, जो completely उसको उसके अराउंड चला जाता है. डायरेक्टली आंसर करने की जगह आप घुमा देते हो. दैट इज टू सर्कमवेंट समथिंग. Rhetorical means a question which does not require an answer. क्वेश्चन के फॉर्मेट में है बट इट इज नॉट रिक्वायरिंग एन आंसर. दैट इज rhetorical. Contemporary means something of the same era. Contemporaneous means things which are of the same time, same era. Thematic, of a theme. Thematic means related to theme. Aesthetic is something related to form, something which is related to beauty, something which looks good is called aesthetic. So aesthetic questions are questions which look good. Expounding is ज्ञान बांटना. Expound is to expound something is to lecture on something. किसी चीज पे ज्ञान बांटना is expounding. Are we done with the words, guys? Lucid means easy to understand, simple, clear, easy to understand. Lucid means simple, clear, easy to understand. Are we done? Okay. Then moving on to the questions. First one. The author of the passage raises objection to criticism of black fiction like that by Addison Gale. Why? It's in the beginning of the passage. They clearly mention that criticism of black fiction like that done by Addison Gale. उसमें तकलीफ क्या है? And those words are simple. Right? When you are criticizing a book, you are supposed to look at it through the literary merit. As a work of art, as a work of literature, उसको देखो, criticize करते वक्त. लेकिन उसको politics के नज़रों से देखोगे, then there's a problem, right? And it's clearly mentioned there. So obviously, the problem with the criticism, why he's objecting is because it replaces political for literary criteria. D, clearly the answer. If you go search for the word Addison Gale, right? Name of a person. Read the words, read the sentences uske upar niche, and clearly it mentions how literary criteria should be used, how politicizing something is wrong. So that's clearly visible from the passage. D is the answer. Yes. See, guys, what I would want you to do is write down the correct answers and then go back, visit the question and the passage. Because when you know the right answer and then you read the passage, it becomes very clear why it is. So don't just leave this PDF and the questions once we are done with the class. In fact, what you should be doing is reading the passage again, because now it will start making a lot of sense and it becomes very obvious why these are the right answers to the questions. What is the primary concern of the author? Okay. So, is he reviewing the validity of a work of criticism? Yes. In the previous question itself, it says it is wrong to use political sense when doing a literary analysis of something. So yes, it is. He says it is not valid to use political things when literary things should be used. A may be my answer. B, he is definitely not comparing critical approaches. He has not given the analysis of more than one type of approach of criticism. So he's definitely not comparing anything. And again, he's not talking about how one particular type of criticism is limited, and he's definitely not revising or recapitulating the major points in a work of criticism, right? He is very clearly, as seen in the previous question also, talking about whether a particular work of criticism itself is valid or not. He says if you use literary terms, fine, don't politicize it. So A has to be my answer. This not everybody could get right, but I hope after the analysis it's making sense. Okay, next one. The author is of the opinion that black fiction would have been improved had Rosenblatt done what? See, there is nothing which says that the amount of work, the amount of evaluation that Rosenblatt has currently done is not enough. So saying that Rosenblatt should have undertaken a more careful evaluation, that is not something we are getting from the passage. That is not something we get as the opinion of the author. Being more objective in his approach to novels and stories, he is clearly objective, right? He's very clearly laying out how the analysis is to be done. He's not introducing his bias or anything, so it is definitely objective. So how can you say that the author should be more, author is the opinion that he should be more objective? So not B. Attempted a more detailed exploration of the recurring themes? No. But the fourth one, the author should, I think, is of the opinion that he could have calculated the relative merit of the novels that he analyzed thematically. Somewhere middle and end of the passage, if you carefully read, you will definitely come across sentences which give you this sense that Rosenblatt has analyzed them thematically, but relative merit, if he could have calculated, then it would have been better. So D is the answer to this one. Are we together? Okay, next one. Rosenblatt's discussion of black fiction is what? Pedantic means trying to please people, chatu type. Contentious means trying to argue too much, trying to fight. Critical is pointing out errors. Admiring is liking. Ironic, irony, you know what that means. Deprecating means किसी को नीचा दिखाना. Argumentative, we know what that means. Unfocused, without a single line of thought. Unfocused means it does not follow a single theme. यहाँ वहाँ कुछ भी रैंडमली बात लिखी है. It is not focusing on particular things. It is very random and haphazard. Is it? Yeah, it's but obviously typo. Oh, don't worry. Entrance exams में there will be tons of typos like this in the paper. This is also the passage is also taken from an online, from one of the exams. And ऐसे typos तो बहुत होते हैं पेपर में. ठीक है. So Rosenblatt is definitely not trying to please anybody, and that it is not. He's not trying to show anybody anything down. He is pointing out where there are problems, but overall he is giving a positive vibe, if I may use the word, in the entire passage, right? Rosenblatt is obviously pointing out that there are errors, but overall he's not negative about it. So the best possible option, which gives you a taste of both, that he's criticizing, but at the same time he's also saying that there are good things in it too. He's critical but admiring. Right? He is giving a balanced opinion. He's pointing out places where there are faults, but also at the same time, he's saying there are good things about it. So critical but admiring, best possible option. According to the given passage, the author would be least likely to approve of which of among the following. And guys, this is one of those trick questions. But fortunately, they have highlighted the word least. That means the author may agree with some of them. You have to find out which one is the author least likely to agree with. This is relatively easy actually, this one. And it follows from one of the, I think the very first question helps you answer this one. The very first question says that he has a problem if you try to politically analyze it. He says analysis should be literary in nature and not political. Look at option C. A literary study of black poetry that appraises the merits of poems according to political acceptability of their themes. If there is some analysis which is based on political acceptability, do you think the author would agree with it? Because the author very clearly says it should not be political, it should be literary based. So the least likely to agree with, easy, it has to be C. Because you have to find which one he is least likely to agree with. To get that, guys, इसका तो आंसर one of the previous questions में से ही अपने को मिल जाता है. Of course, passage में तो है ही. But if you've answered the first question of the set correctly, you will automatically get this one. Did you understand? Yash, Zarna? Option B. Attempting a critical study which applies socio-political criteria to the autobiographies of black authors. What does he say about autobiography? He's talking about their literary work. But has he mentioned anything about autobiographies in the entire passage? Man? He says literary criteria hona chahiye. He is against political criteria. Has he said anything about socio-political criteria? राइट सिर्फ पॉलिटिकल या लिटरेरी क्राइटेरिया हो तो अपने को पता है, लेकिन सोशियो पॉलिटिकल क्राइटेरिया के बारे में ऑथर क्या कहता है वी डोंट नो. सो वी कैन नॉट से ही विल नॉट अप्रूव इट. वी डोंट नो. दैट्स व्हाई बी कैन नॉट बी द आंसर. चलो, फ्रॉम द फॉलोइंग पॉइंट्स विच डज द ऑथर नॉट मेक यूज ऑफ व्हाइल डिस्कसिंग ब्लैक फिक्शन? Which one does he not use? Oh, almost everybody got this one. Very good. Rhetorical questions. Well, he has asked questions which does not require an answer. Specific examples, भर के दिया है. Comparison and contrast, he has done. But he has never defined any term, right? So definitely option D. He does not give definition of anything. He does not explain any term. So this easy, D. So guys, tough passage, low scoring passage, 2 or above, without spending a lot of time on it, is sort of acceptable. उससे ज़्यादा मिल जाता तो बहुत ही अच्छा है. लेकिन 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 any of those scores I would say is acceptable if you do not waste too much of time on this. But if you did spend some time, then I would require a score of at least 4, 5 or 6. लेकिन ज़्यादा टाइम स्पेंड नहीं किया तो 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 any of them is great. Because this is not one of the easy passages. Shubhankar, start reading the questions first. Reading the questions itself will give you a sense whether the passage is going to be easy or not. If you get the sense that the questions are relatively straightforward, the passage is worth reading, then go for it. But while reading the questions itself, if you get confused, then there is no point in wasting time completing the passage. Leave it, move ahead. Complete all the other questions in the paper. End में अगर time बचे तो come back to this. Because IELTS जैसे paper के अंदर you will not have too much of time. So rather than wasting it on a passage like this where you are not going to understand anything and I'm not going to be sitting next to you to explain, the strategy to use is don't attempt this. Akash, you could have been a little bit faster, but it's fine. जय, क्लैट में कोई स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है. क्लैट के पिछले 2020 के पेपर में 35 ऑलमोस्ट द एंटायर सेक्शन वॉज एसेज. आईलेट में अराउंड 6 to 7 क्वेश्चंस आते हैं एक पैसेज में से. क्लैट में पहले 2019 तक एक पैसेज में से रफली 10 क्वेश्चंस आते थे. 2020 में द एंटायर सेक्शन वॉज प्योरली बेस्ड ऑन आरसीस. ठीक है गाइस? Should I read all the questions or few? See, don't read the options, but at least read all the questions to get a sense of what you're looking for in the passage. ऊपर से एक बार नजर घुमा लो, right? All the questions so that you know what you're looking for in the passage. Not 35 passages, 35 questions. Some 6 or 7 passages जिसमें से 35 questions थे. चलो guys, start the next one now. All meanings after you have done the passage. Okay, that's good. Those who have done it. Okay, fair number of you guys have done it. What about the others? Okay, chalo. Oh, Manush, see the benefit of reading different types of material. See, so you could have done this passage very quickly and got majority of the answers right because it is from a subject that you're comfortable with, right? Excellent. Chalo, words, meanings, and then we move on to the questions. Specific words that you want a meaning for. Cohesive. Cohesive means something which sticks together. Right? Recrimination, badla. Harbor is to give a safe place. Vapid is something which is brainless. टिपिकल वो होते हैं ना छिछोरियाँ, दिमाग नहीं होता है, एकदम सोशलाइट टाइप, सोशल बटरफ्लाई, दिमाग नहीं होता है. Vapid is something which is not very sensible. Something that is not intelligent is vapid. Not intelligent but pretty in other ways. Fiasco is a big wrong, something which happened wrong in a spectacular way, right? स्पेस रॉकेट लॉन्च करने गए, लॉन्च होते धमाके में फट गया, दैट्स अ फियास्को, अ ह्यूज बैड थिंग. फ्लॉप शो सॉर्ट ऑफ. कॉन्कॉमिटेंट, समथिंग विच फॉलोज समथिंग, किसी चीज के साथ साथ जो फॉलो करता है, दैट इज कॉन्कॉमिटेंट. Corollary is not exactly synonymous to concomitant, but they are in the same range. Corollary is something follows from something. किसी से derive करते हो, that's a corollary. Concomitant is something which comes after something. So guys, if you are done with the words, shall we move on to the questions? Chalo. First one. Why does the author think that cohesive group can do a much better job at decision making than it could if it was non-cohesive? The members of a highly cohesive group can feel much free to deviate from the majority. Well, beginning of the passage it does say that if you are not cohesive, then you are afraid. But when you are cohesive, when you know each other, then you don't have a problem in saying no. So A could be my answer. Individuals will not conceal objections that they harbor regarding a proposal favored by the majority. Well, this is actually similar to A, right? They will not conceal objections means they will free to deviate. So both A and B together are giving you more or less the same meaning. So if both of them are right, so there is no option both A and B. So that means all of the above is the only one which can make sense. So I will not even go ahead trying to understand what C means, because both A and B are there. I will mark all of the above and move ahead. I think majority of you would have done the same thing. Both A and B, you just mark and move ahead. Which one of the following most accurately expresses the main point of the passage? It talks about how cohesiveness is good, how it is better to have a group that is cohesive, but it also talks about how over a period of time the very thing that is useful to the group can lead to a problem called groupthink, right? It talks about the phenomenon groupthink. In fact, it does not talk about how group members can guard against groupthink. It does not say that it is a dysfunctional collective decision making pattern in diplomacy and military. It does not even say that low cohesion in groups is desirable. But it says that while high cohesion is good, it sometimes creates a problem called groupthink. A is simply my answer. None of the above is actually the main point of the passage. They are all examples. They are all things given here and there, but they do not summarize what actually the author is trying to convey. The main point is he is building towards the concept of groupthink. Correct. A is the best one. Others are too narrow. Right? They don't include everything in the passage. But A is the one which actually summarizes most of the passage and hence should be selected as the answer. Next, a group of closely associated colleagues have made a disastrous diplomatic decision after a series of meetings marked by disagreement over conflicting alternatives. It can be inferred from the passage that the author would be most likely to say that this scenario is what? So it does not indicate that there is chronic indecision. In one instance, they made a mistake. So it's not about के बार बार mistake कर रहे हैं. So it's not, chronic means something which happens again and again. So it's not about chronic indecision. Does it talk about, the author actually is trying to explain how group cohesiveness leads to problems. And here very clearly the passage says that they are closely associated colleagues, right? And there was a lot of disagreement over conflicting argument. So it's possible that there was a groupthink fiasco. B, not necessarily true, but also not necessarily false. So B को for the time being बाजू में रखते हैं. It provides no evidence that groupthink played a role in the group's decision. Beginning of the passage says they are closely associated, which means they were cohesive. So groupthink हो सकता है. I cannot say it is not there. So C does not please me. Provides evidence that groupthink can develop even in some groups that do not demonstrate an illusion of unanimity. This passage clearly says that they were closely associated. They are not giving an illusion of unanimity. They're actually unanimous. Right? So D also not a great option. The only one which sort of makes sense for the entire passage is option B. Option B is the only one which sort of makes sense. See, it says that this passage provides evidence that groupthink can develop even in some groups that do not demonstrate illusion of unanimity. Okay? Can you show me which part of the given passage here shows that they are not demonstrating an illusion of unanimity? Does the passage actually say that they did not demonstrate an illusion of unanimity? First line, a group of closely associated colleagues have made a disastrous diplomatic decision after a series of meetings marked by disagreement over conflicting alternatives. Okay, but the fact that they are closely, there's nothing which says that they're demonstrating whether they're unanimous or split. Yeah, they are closely associated, but are they demonstrating it or not demonstrating it? Is that given in the passage? Does the passage tell you whether they are showing their closeness? It is said they are close, but what about the fact of demonstration, right? So the demonstration fact is not there, and hence that D cannot be my answer, because the passage does not talk about displaying this closeness, this unanimity. Are you getting that? Chalo. The passage mentions which of the following as a component of groupthink? ये तो directly passage में से उठाना है. I think most of you should have got it. Yes, B, a strong belief that the group's decisions are right. That is exactly the definition, one of the definitions of groupthink. I think इसमें तो कोई लफड़ा ही नहीं होगा. Everybody would more or less got it right. It can be inferred from the passage that both the author of the passage and the researchers mentioned in the passage would be most likely to agree with which one of the following statements about groupthink. Again, this is straightforward there in the passage. Groupthink occurs in all strong cohesive group, yes, but contribution to collective decision making is not fully understood. Maybe A could be my answer. The casual factors that transform group cohesion into groupthink are unique to each case. ऐसी तो कोई बात नहीं है. The continued study of cohesiveness of a group is probably fruitless for determining what factors elicit groupthink. No, in fact, they are actually able to give reasons of what are the factors. So I won't say it is fruitless, not C. Groupthink cannot be expected to have a beneficial effect in a group's decision making. No, it says it may be good, it may be bad. So the best possible option technically is A. $149. Previous one was B for Bombay. Vanchika. And guys, what about the others? How much did we score in this? I think 4 or 5 is a very decent score because relatively easy passage. 4 or 5 is relatively a good score. 3 is average. 0, 1 या 2 तो तकलीफ है because some of the options were pretty obvious. If your score is 0, 1 or 2, then I would say कि you have a lot of work to do. 3 थोड़ा धक्के की ज़रूरत है. 4 और 5 सही ट्रैक पे हो. Keep up whatever you are doing. Yes. Chalo. One last passage for the day then. Try the next one. Last passage for the day. Very interesting passage. Let's see, Gautam, time permitting. Okay, Pranav, good. Okay, pretty decent. I hope accuracy is also maintained. Okay, what about the others? Are most of the guys done? Okay, any specific word, line, concept which you don't understand? Any meaning? Any particular stipulated? Stipulated means something which is specified. The conditions are stipulated. Means these are the conditions, they are written and we agree to them. We stipulate to this condition. Substantive, something which is based on substance rather than rules. You prove something, substantiate something. With evidence, you prove something. That is substantive, not just rule based. In fact, the entire passage is about difference between substantive and formal. So substantive is based on the evidence, not simply following rules. Can you hear me, guys? Yash is not able to hear me. Are the others able to hear me? Yes. Yash, आपके ऑडियो में कोई प्रॉब्लम है शायद. Others are able to hear me. Any other words? It's a very interesting passage. It shows you the two different types of legal systems in two countries. Okay. Chalo. If no more doubts, we will see the questions in the passage then. Namra says, after having a close look on all difficult words, they can be interpreted. We feel tense. So, Namra, see, nobody understands 100% of the words, right? Even for me, when I read the word substantive today, when I was doing the passage, I did not understand it. But what I did, I still went ahead, and by the time I completed reading the passage, the word substantive का more or less meaning मेरे को समझ में आ गया, right? I may not be exactly able to define what it means, but एक general sense समझ में आ गया है कि formal means rule based, substantive means based on other things, something proven. Exactly. So that's the only thing which you need to do, Namra. Nobody, unless it's a vocabulary question where there's what is the meaning of this word, तभी भी option में से अपने कर पाएंगे. So never ever feel that when I'm reading, if I don't understand the meaning of a word, then it is poor. No, it is not. In fact, if you come across a word and you don't understand it, is absolutely fine. Don't stop. Just continue reading. आगे जैसे जैसे पढ़ते जाओगे more or less उसका मीनिंग समझ में तो आ ही जाएगा. ठीक है, चलो. Which one of the following best describes the content of a passage as whole? An analysis of the similar, where does it talk about similarities, at all points of time, it is clearly showing how they are different, but it hardly ever says anything about similarities, right? So, A, not a great option. Re-evaluation of two legal systems, it is not evaluating, it is actually evaluating, it is not re-evaluating something, right? But see, a contrast between the type of reasons embodied in the United States and English legal system. It clearly talks about why certain things, right, are there. So, and it shows the difference at all point of time. So C, maybe explanation of how two distinct visions of law shape the development of legal reasoning. Nah, it does not tell you how these two different systems developed legal reasoning. It only shows how they are different. So best option 110% C. 110%. The answer is C. Because there is no similarity. It's clearly showing the differences between the two. So C is the best possible option here. यश, ए में सिमिलैरिटी एंड डिफरेंस की बात कर रहे हैं. पूरे पैसेज में कहीं पे भी उनके सिमिलैरिटीज की बात की है? शुरू से ही उन दोनों का डिफरेंस बताया गया है. कहीं पे भी उनके सिमिलैरिटी की बात की है? Exactly. When the passage never talks about their similarity, how can that be my answer? It is too broad an answer. It includes something which is not there. It can be inferred from the passage that English judges would like to find veterans group discussed in the second paragraph guilty of violating the statute. Statute means law. Why would the English judges like to find that the veterans group was guilty of violating the statute? Oh, symbol. Remember guys, English is formal, right? American is substantive. English is formal, right? And English law is all about following the rules. So the veterans failed to comply with stipulated requirement of the statute. Law में जो लिखा था वो उन्होंने follow नहीं किया तो वो guilty है. It is Americans who will try to understand the reason because they follow the substantive type. The English judges will say उन्होंने कानून में लिखा है ये नहीं कर सकते, तुमने ये किया, you are guilty, खत्म. They follow the formal system. Here very clearly D. Yes. A statute providing providing purposes were explicitly written into the statute was to ensure okay, the law was written and very explicitly, openly, clearly they have pointed out the things in the law, and the reason was because they want quiet in the park. So when a law is written, very clearly they have openly written that you can do this and you cannot do this, and the reason behind that is because they want there to be quiet in the park. That's what it means. Okay. From the discussion on wills in the third paragraph, it can be inferred that substantive arguments as to the validity of a will might be considered under which one of the following circumstances? So substantive means जिसमें फॉर्मेट कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है, फॉलोइंग एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज रिटन इन द लॉ ज़रूरी नहीं है, बट एनीथिंग विच इज वर्किंग, एनीथिंग विच इज कन्वीनियंट, as long as it is legal, will be allowed. That is substantive. So legal rule that will be witnessed in writing does not stipulate the format. Substantive law mein this does not matter. The legal rule requiring that will be witnessed stipulates that will must be witnessed in writing by two people. It's a rule for formal, not for substantive. The legal rule requiring that will be witnessed in writing stipulates that witnessing must be done in the presence of a judge. Again, it's a rule based on formal, not substantive. A judge rules that the law can be interpreted to allow for a verbal witness to a will in a case involving a medical emergency. That is exactly what substantive law is. So there should be no confusion. It has to be D. Legal rules are all part of formal. Interpretation is substantive. Just remember that. If there is a rule to be followed, it is formal. If it is meant for interpretation, it is substantive. D can only be the answer which makes sense. Yes, once you understand formal and substantive का difference passage में क्या दिया है, then it is very easy to answer this one. Which one of the following best describes the function of the last paragraph of the passage? If you remember, it says formal में क्या होता है, क्या हो सकता है, substantive में क्या हो सकता है, if my memory serves right. Bhavika, yes. So it says, it talks about too many loopholes. If you leave everything open to interpretation, then sometimes it becomes extreme. Extreme interpretation is possible, right? It presents it shows what will happen if they are not moderated, right? It's quite possible to go to extreme lengths in either type. So A, best possible answer. It presents the consequence of extreme interpretation of the two types of legal reasons. Where does it say? Does it suggest how characterization of two types of legal reason can become convoluted and inadequate? Or is it showing that it is possible to have some horrific outcomes because of interpretation? Read the passage again. It does not suggest how the legal reason can become convoluted, but it shows how a horrific outcome is possible because of such misinterpretations. So better than D has to be A. It is definitely kind of a descriptive passage, but it is very close to the legal system. For law aspirants, this is 100% the kind of passage that you will be studying, especially in legal history. Chalo guys, next one. The author of the passage suggests that in English law, a substantive interpretation of a legal rule might be warranted under which of the following circumstances? I think straightforward from the passage. I think this answer is straightforward from the passage. If you want, you can go and refer to it. English law is usually about formal rules. But if the formal rule itself is not legal enough, then it is open to judicial interpretation. C. No, Anshika. C. Why A? It's not about change of social conditions or anything. It's when the question of legality arises, then you can interpret it. Because formal rules are strict. Your original answer C was correct. See, in English law, they follow formal rules, which means whatever is written, you have to strictly follow. In this question, the author is asking that although English law is formal, under what conditions will substantive interpretation of the legal rule be allowed? Instead of strictly following the rule, when will they be allowed to interpret the law in a different way? When the existing law is wrong, then obviously the judge will be allowed to interpret it correctly and make it substantive in interpretation. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is not legal passage. It's more of historical. It's not law. It's the history of law. It definitely can be asked. Did everybody understand this? Chalo. The author of the passage makes use of all of the following in presenting the discussion of English and United legal system, except which one does he not use? What has he not done in the passage? Has he compared and contrasted? Definitely. Has he made generalization? Yes. Has he explained terms? Yes. Has he given any timeline of historical development in the entire passage? Did you come across any time? No. So what is not there in the passage? D. Generalization is. I saw a student chewing gum in the class. So all the students are used to chewing gum. That's a generalization. एक specific example से एक general चीज बता देना. That is generalization. थोड़े examples से लेके एक general चीज बोल देना. You see 2 or 3 people doing something and you say this is a general thing कि उस type के लोग सभी ये करते हैं. You are generalizing it. चलो guys. How many did you get in this passage? Rishikesh, yes, definitely. It was an easy passage. 4 and above would be a good score. 4 and above will be a good score. Anything less than 4 correct answers, I will want you to think about it. Akash, okay. For me, I think some passages before this was tough. This was not the tough one for me. But then everybody has different levels, right? What is tough for you may not be for me and vice versa. So it's okay. It only shows what kind of interests we have in reading. Okay, guys. We barely have time to read, complete, and analyze yet another passage. And like I already said, this would be the last passage, although we managed to finish it quickly. So I guess we are done for the day. Guys, before you log off, remember tomorrow we will only be having the GK session 11:30 to 1:30, right? 2 hours, and there will not be a GK session on Wednesdays. Henceforth, in the crash execution, GK sessions will only be on Sundays. Although we will be recording the session, so in case you're not able to make it, you can watch the recording. But please, we will be having the GK. I'll be sending the timetable. GK sessions will only be on Sundays. Permutation combination. I think IQ ke book mein there is a chapter on that. You can do that. Namra, IPMAT, I will have to take a look because of the pandemic, not many are in touch. But getting in touch with them, very few, because they are all in first year college and very busy with their college work. Not many of them would be comfortable interacting with you. But I'll ask if they're okay. I'll pass on their contact details. Okay. Gautam was asking me about black satire. Now, black satire as in dark humor or about African Americans? Africans basically, dark skinned people. By black satire, do you mean dark humor? Okay. I'm not a big fan of dark humor. But if you want political satire and things, there's a book by Shashi Tharoor called The Great Indian Novel. It's a beautiful description of the Indian freedom political system with the Mahabharata as an analogy. So if you have a basic idea of the Mahabharata and the Indian political system during our freedom struggle, it's a beautiful book to read. It was banned some time back, but Dr. Shashi Tharoor's The Great Indian Novel is an excellent book. If you're done, yes, you can leave the session. The remaining passage answers we can discuss next time. You can leave the session if nothing is there. Yes, IELTS is always tougher than CLAT. So a decent score in IELTS means a good score in CLAT. Many of the registrations have not even opened, right? So you have to keep checking. Many of them have not even announced their dates. So if it's not there, it's quite possible they have not even announced it.